Hello everybody and welcome to the Creative Cloud Workshop video recordings, hosted by Keyline, the Digital Design College. We have been shaping design workflows in KZN for almost the last 2 decades. We offer courses in graphic and web design, video production, 3D modeling, and much more. We're located on the Florida Road Strip in Durban. So the next time you're around, give us a shout and we'll be happy to show you around and assist you with solutions to whatever you're trying to create. Today, we'll be going over some tips and techniques in Adobe InDesign.
So let's talk about InDesign for those of us who actually use InDesign for our layouts, for our multiple page documents. What are some of the new adjustments they've made to make it better? Well, one of them has to do with the placing and working with off images. So right here on my screen, I have a cover page of a little magazine that I want to work on. And I've got an image kept on the side here. Now you can see quite clearly on this image, if you've got a little character or a little person walking on the screen, you have a large backdrop. And the area that I want to place him in is right here in the center, which is this image frame holder that I've placed for now. Now, normally when we work with images, no matter how we put them in, right, it's just a matter of simply clicking and placing it like so. And the problem is that we've all occurred or ever had is that when you drop an image into an existing frame, it goes to its maximum size. Thereafter, if you know the little trick, select it, right click on it, go to fitting, and then you can choose full frame proportionately, which will scale the image down. But as you notice, he's still not into view. So I still have to select it by grabbing the content grabber and moving it into position. Right, so it's a couple of steps just to get to this point here. Now, in InDesign, what they've added is a cool little feature. So when you place an image into an existing frame, instead of now going ahead and just using full frame, basically, if it's off screen or if it's off size, instead of right-clicking and choosing now full frame proportionally, we now have a new option here called Content Aware Fit. Now, what Content Aware Fit basically does is it scans the image on its own using Adobe Sensei's engine, figures out what's the focal point of that image, and then brings that into central view. So we can see quite clearly the focal item here is on the right-hand side. By hitting this button and doing nothing else, this is going to be the result in one go. So no matter where I may be placing him, if I'm placing into different size containers or different shaped objects, so let's try one with a circle here as well. As I place that guy in, and you can see clearly that it's out of view. Right click on that, fitting, and in one step now, it will bring that in view. Again, we still have the ability to go ahead and choose to reposition it even further if we want to, but this is making it a lot more easier for us. So it's not really fitting it in, it's deciding how big it should be so we get the focal item. Now that's cool, but that means every time you bring an image in, you have to do that on its own. So what they've also added, and this is in all versions of the latest version of InDesign, is if you go to your preferences, under your general tab, you can make this a default. So if you choose that and click OK, now every time you bring an image in to any existing frame, it will fit accordingly. So even if I got these three here, drop that in there, there, and there, you can see it works flawlessly from there. And again, if I need to make any adjustments, I have the ability to do so. So it's not only choosing to full or fit, it's going to place it in and decide which part will work well from there. So that's one of the newest features. You can switch that option on, and now when it comes time to placing assets into your document, it's going to be a whole bunch more easier to work with. Another option that we have, and it's actually to do with text, is something called variable fonts. So at the top here in my title, I have a little text box. I've typed in a little header right here. And the font, if you have a glance at looking at, is called a human variable. Now, the variable fonts, you can get a lot of them online, but a lot of them ship as well with the Adobe programs. The first thing you'll notice that is if I click on this dropdown, these guys have not even a ton. A ton is like too little in regards to the amount of styles and options that you can choose between them to work with. So they have a whole varying amount from there. But the trick to variable fonts is that now we have a lot of control over what it looks like. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I go ahead and select this text box, go to my character options over here, you'll notice there's a little button placed on the right-hand side. Now, this button will only be available if it's a variable font. If it's not, then it will not appear there at all. I'm gonna go ahead and select that. and I'll get this little dialog box like so. And in this case, I have 3 sliders: weight, width, and slant. Right? I have control over how thick or thin I want the font to be. So instead of being, if you ever had a font that, you know, you had a regular size and a bold size, and the bold was way too big, and even the regular seemed like it was too thick, and you wish you had the ability to control it. And for those of us who are a little bit more seasoned, to get it to look exactly the way you want, you played around with putting a stroke on your text to make it look the right way. With variable fonts, you can say goodbye to that process and just work within this range. Yeah, so you have a lot of control, actually full control, as to how bold or thick something is. We also have control in this particular font over the width of the font. So I can increase it. This is not like stretching, because if I go ahead and go a lot more thinner, not only does it just change, it changes the entire look. You go from a normal regular look to a condensed look in a single font, even in regards to how it looks in italics. So you can have a combination of these however you want, and you can create the look and feel that you want to have. And the best thing about this as well, it can either be for entire word or it can be for a few of them. Go ahead and increase that, pull the width all the way in here. So 2 new features in regards to working with files in InDesign is variable fonts. Variable fonts are now available in all 3 programs. So you'll find them in Illustrator, you'll find them in Photoshop, and you'll find them, of course, here in InDesign. And they're all, in regards to editing, will be found through your character panel, through that little character over there. One of the last things I want to show you guys with InDesign, for those of you who work with it, if you've ever had an image to work with and you always wanted to pull out the colors to use maybe for headings or text or for whatever it may be, and you obviously know the Photoshop trick, use the eyedropper tool and then it'll pick up a color for you. Let me show you something cool. Where your eyedropper is normally found, you'll find something called the color theme. And what this works with specifically is with images, and it basically will pick up the primary colors in an image and allow you to use it anywhere else. So I can go ahead and select that, click anywhere on this picture, and I'll get a little dialog box like this. This is going to sample basically the major colors that have been used here. And I have an option to either send this to my Creative Cloud libraries, so I can use it in other documents, or I can send it directly to my Swatches panel right now. And what that means, if I pop over to my Swatches panel here, right, that this color will then be added into a subfolder. Now I can go ahead and use that, apply it wherever I want, as a fill, as a stroke, whatever it may be. So I'm gonna go ahead and select this text here and make it the same color there as well. So gone are the days where you have to figure out how to dig for the particular colors. If you're just trying to get the majority color of an image to be part of your design, this is a cool little way to do it. Again, it's very simple. Color theme tool, select the image, and that will go ahead and apply it for you.